I was afraid there for a second we were going to listen to all 12. Good morning and welcome to the conversation. I'm Beth-Ann Kozlovich. Good morning, Chris Vandercook.
Yep, good morning. I was having the same thought, and I don't even know which of the 12 we're at today.
Well, I don't know. You'll have to look at the calendar
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna look it
count
up.
back. But we do know that we're fewer than 10 days from Christmas, so there you go. And isn't Christmas Day the first day of Christmas? And then it moves out from that until Epiphany, right?
I'll
Okay.
put our research people on that.
Oh, good. You go do that. We're going to talk about some other things that maybe some people are hoping are going to show up for, well, if not in time for Christmas, shortly after the new year starts. When last we spoke, Tracey Wilen had completed research on women who lead. Earlier this year, she released her latest book, Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends. She's again in Honolulu this week, and she joins us now with an update on not only women in leadership, but the careers that could offer longevity and creative growth for many people who are out there looking for a job or to make a career change. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, and good morning to you.
As no doubt you're seeing too, this is the time of year when everyone is doing forecasting for 2015 job trends. And it looks, Tracey, like a lot of them are being pitched toward those who are coming out of college and are going to be getting their first jobs, just entering the job market, those who are early in their careers, but maybe not as much for those people who are well into a career and thinking, do they want to stay there, or is this job going to be something that will have the longevity? And does that even matter anymore?
Yeah, well, I think it does matter, and I think there are a lot of opportunities for people who are mid-career. I think the mindset of mid-career people has to be that the corporation is a stop and not a destination, and that there will be more stops once we leave our current position, and we need to create those opportunities. But I have seen some significant trends that I think are creating opportunities for people in all aspects. The first one is actually the aging of baby boomers. This is creating a lot of demand for services in healthcare, and not just healthcare, but all kinds of areas, whether it's tourism or home support or anything that's that baby boomers are looking for in activities. Pets have gone through the roof because they're replacing their children. And so I think, that whole bucket of baby boomers plus healthcare is creating a lot of opportunity.
So for people who may be in their 40s or 50s and who know that they're going to be working for a lot longer because we're living a lot longer and we know that we have many careers in our lifetimes, this is sounding like there's a place for them to go that might put them with maybe, if not their peers, but a slightly older generation.
Yes, and in fact, that is one of those, I would say, career paths that you can do at multiple ages and at different education levels. You can start off at entry level, you can get a certificate, and then we call it the building block type of career, where you can get a 1-year additional certificate and move into a 2-year degree, 4-year, but it's really up to you. You can also specialize in things like, running the equipment. I met a gentleman well into his 50s who was actually an eye photographer, because that's what they use to be able to look at eyes today, and people take pictures and then they help the doctors, right, figure out the surgery. So there's a lot of, opportunities there.
But this really means that you have to own your career and be responsible for it and not somehow think that you're going to be on this track that may take you from this job to that job, and you may be staying within the same field. You may actually have to go redevelop something.
That's right. That is a big trend. That is a shift that maybe a lot of people haven't really grappled with. In the past, in the classical world, companies took care of us. They gave us the guidance. They told us our career paths, and it was pretty defined. In the new technical world, in more ambiguous, it's ambiguous world today, we actually have to take ownership of our careers, because as you mentioned earlier, is that you're living longer. So our careers are now 50 or 60 years. So how do I take ownership of that and plot my own destiny for 50 or 60 years?
So how do people do that when it must be an incredibly daunting idea that, especially if you've been raised with the idea that you went to school, you got a degree or 2 or 3, and then off you are in a certain area of specialty, to have to say, okay, well, maybe that is not relevant anymore or not as relevant. How do I retool and get something that's going to pay me what I need to be making and also be able to have a career you enjoy.
Yeah, so if people are working now, I encourage them to start right where you are at work, because a lot of firms and organizations that offer opportunities, whether through training or classes, so that you can up your skills. They also, and I would say for people to be proactive, are encouraging now more lateral moves, high visibility projects, and cross-functional teams. These are ways that companies can develop employees and employees can develop themselves. Because if you're working, you might as well expand your skill set while at work, and also raise your hand for new projects. You know, jump on that team that's touching technology, because it could be something that you might like and you may want to pursue. So I wouldn't just be rigid in our roles, and look for other ways to contribute.
One of the things that we're hearing now, too, is that if you're out there looking for a job, you better be out there on social media, because that's as much your calling card as your resume. How true is that?
Yeah, well, it's actually, you know, social media is just another distribution channel for marketing. You know, in the past it was TV and radio, and now today we have extra distribution channels. So it's important that we all understand how to use these channels, what they mean for us. When do you use Twitter? When do you use Facebook? When do you use LinkedIn? And how does that help our businesses? And that is another trend. I think a lot of people in general are seeing the possibilities of self-employment and entrepreneurism. A lot of it's promoted by Shark Tank and the other shows. But I have met particularly young women who are embracing this concept and saying, oh, I can see myself being in a company now and then having a family, and also developing entrepreneurial aspects of my life, and learning all the things about that I need to know, and social media is one of those areas.
In Hawaii, we know a few things, like, for example, that we have pretty much the jobs that we have. Some new ones will be created and continue to change, but the talent pool is a little bit shallow, and some have said, well, it's difficult for us to find people who are really qualified for what we like to have them do now. Or we see people just simply sort of playing musical offices and going from this organization to that organization, maybe with a stop in the public sector, but always this shift going on because they are qualified people.
Yeah, there's a couple of trends that I think that may, it's certainly hitting California and other areas that I'm suspecting it's also here. One is we've turned into an on-demand type of economy. We want everything now. We want it in our lap. And that has created jobs for people who would just deliver. Google Express is very popular, you know, Amazon Demand. These creating logistics jobs, service jobs, things that you really don't need in education for, but they didn't exist before. The other trend is the sharing economy. We like to share. We like to share our houses through, you know, renting out a room to a tourist. We share our cars now because we don't want to own one. We want a piece of one or a ride. And I think the sharing economy is one that is probably also here. And the third one is food. Food has just taken off, whether it's on-demand food, sharing food, gourmet food, vegetarian food, organic food. Has created so many opportunities for people growing indoor gardens, which I think is also hitting here in Honolulu, because I see from the last time I was here how many more restaurants have just taken on new food trends, fusion trends and organic trends, which if you are interested in that, these are new opportunities. So I wouldn't just look at the traditional paths, but look at some of the trends that might be emerging in your area.
And also based on some of the things that you know that you enjoy that maybe could be leveraged into a career if you did a little bit more digging.
Yes, I encourage people, it's not about your passion. Explore. Explore things, try them out, and let's see what you can develop out of it.
Strike another one for curiosity.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you again. Dr. Tracey Wilen speaks on the impact of technology and society, on society, work, and careers. A former visiting scholar at Stanford University, she has held leadership positions at Apple, HP, Cisco, and the Apollo Group. She's authored 11 books. Her most recent is Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends.